Welcome to our weekly Mitzvah Shabbos program, the inside story of Chabad in America. As I mentioned last week, Mitzvah Shabbos, I begin with a story. That's the Jewish custom. But before I say the story, I just want to say a saying. Don't believe what you hear, believe half what you see. There are stories, some people say from the Baal Shem, miracles. Not necessarily are they true. They could be true, but not necessarily they true. The same thing, there are stories from the Rabbi, miracles. Some of them are true, some of them are not true. They could be true. As there's a saying, whoever believes every story of the Baal Shem is true is a shaita, is a fool. And whoever believes that the stories cannot happen is an atheist, is an apikoidus. And the same thing also, there are many times people say stories of the Rebbe could be true, for sure, but lav davke, it's true. But I want to say, since it's Mitzvah Shabbos, a time to say stories, the story that I have on this program, and I'll tell you, it comes from, or the notes that Rabbi Mindel, which the Rebbe trusted him, everything wrote that he heard from the Rebbe, or notes from my Zayde, who was the Rebbe's Melamed teacher, heard to my father, or even if I heard from speaker, I'll tell you who I heard it from. Could be true, could be not. But what Rabbi Mindel wrote down from the Rebbe, that is the stories that are true. So today I want to mention a story that even though I mentioned it once in my Thursday night program, but maybe some people, they're new listeners now, did not hear the story. First of all, I want to tell you, when Rabbi Mindel told me by the Rebbe opens every single letter. No, the secretary doesn't open the letters. The Rebbe opens every letter. It takes time. So once somebody wrote to the Rebbe, you're busy. Why don't you make a stamp, sign your name, and you can read it over, and if you like the letter, an answer, just give it over to the secretaries. You have thousands of letters, and he'll stamp your name. Why do you have to sit and sign every single letter? It takes time. So the Rebbe said, we live in Olam HaSheker, in a false world. So the signature should also be false. The Rebbe signed every letter. That whatever the Rebbe signed, every letter the Rebbe signed. So that's I wanted to tell you. Now I'm going to tell you a story that the Rebbe told Rabbi Mindel. I said it once, and I'll say it again now for the Mitzvah Shabbos program. A bacher wrote to the Rebbe that he's going out with a girl, a shidduch. And he wrote to the Rebbe once, and he says that I don't have Amshachas Halev. I don't think this girl, a very nice girl, but she's not, he doesn't have a feeling. And the Rebbe always says, one of the most important is Hamshachas Halev. If there is no Hamshachas Halev, sometimes the Rebbe says even to stop. But this time, he said continue. The bacher continued, because the Rebbe says, continue seeing her again. And he saw her again. He wrote again to the Rebbe, he doesn't have Hamshachas Halev. A third time, he doesn't have, maybe better, but he wasn't happy. That's it. He married her. The Rebbe didn't tell him to marry her. He married her. Now he writes to me, the Rebbe says, he has tinus, he has complaints to me because he's going to divorce. And the reason that he married her, not because he had a Meshachas Aleh, because he didn't. But the reason he married her is because the Rebbe says continue. So he thought the Rebbe thinks that this should be his wife. So now he has complaints, he's going to divorce. So the Rebbe says to Rabbi Mindel, "Nu, what do you say?" And the Rebbe smiles. Nu, again, nu. Rabbi Mindel, he never answered the Rebbe. The Rebbe says, imagine, what can he answer the Rebbe? He didn't answer, he doesn't answer. The Rebbe says, "Nu," he was quiet, he has nothing to say. This reminds me that there was once a Rabbi Pekarsky, of Shalom. He was Rosh Yeshiva in Lubavitch here, 770. After the chasana of his Einikel, of his granddaughter, after the chuppah, not the chasana, the chuppah, he was standing by the Rebbe's room with the kala, with the chasana, with the chatanim. The Rebbe came out to Ma'iliv. So the Rebbe gave dollars. Then the Rebbe was going to give $1 to the chassan. So before he gives the $1, he turns to Rabbi Pekarsky and he says to him, Can a hedyet make a melech a shliach? The chassan is called a melech, a king. The Rebbe calls himself a hedyet. So, and $1, the Rebbe gives $1. The Rebbe is making you a shliach. When the Rebbe gives dollars, he wants you to give $1 for tzedakah. Everything for tzedakah. The Rebbe just gives dollars for tzedakah. So he's making him a shliach. Can a hedyet? So Rabbi Kaska didn't answer. Rebbe says, no, a few times. Mamash was standing and waiting, didn't give him. No. Should he answer? He can't answer the Rebbe sometimes. So the Rebbe gave him $1, gave him a bracha. But I just want to say that sometimes you don't answer. So here, he asked Rabbi Mindel, and Rabbi Mindel did not answer. Then the Rebbe says to him, the Tzemach Tzedek, they had 7 children, he had a lot of Einiklach, grandchildren. One, he was Mesadik Dushin. The Tzemach Tzedek was Mesadik Dushin. That means that he gave brachas. After 3 months, I don't know who it was, one of his Einikl, after 3 months, they divorced. So the Bechutin said to the Tzemach Tzedek, I don't understand. You were Mesadik Dushin. You gave brachas. They divorce after 3 months? He doesn't. So the Tzemach Tzedek says, they'll mention the petach. Petach means full. It's a Russian word, I think, petach. In Yiddish, das was steht, Meishiv Chachomim Ocher, Vidaitum Akosalin, geht das auf uns? Das geht auf Emes Chachomim, kann sein, Meishiv Chachomim Ocher. Was fragst du? Meaning that, in the Gemara, the time of the Churban Beis Hamikdash, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, the Romans liked him, and they said, tell us what you want and we'll listen to you. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai told him about the Yavne v'Chachomeho. He should help the Chachomim. He could have asked him not to destroy the Beis Hamikdash, and we wouldn't have a goals. Yochanan ben Zakkai. Why didn't he ask that? So the Gemara says, because sometimes the answer of Chachomim come from the back, and their mind becomes crooked. This is the answer. That's why he didn't say. This is what it means. Now let me tell you what happened after. That couple divorced. 2.5 years later, they remarried. They have children. They live in Israel. They're the happiest people. This is 2 years later. Now, what is the lesson from this story? People ask the Rebbe in different letters, can the Rebbe make a mistake? Can the Rebbe forget? The mistake of the Rebbe has to be like that. The Churban of the Beis Hamikdash, we have to be in Golus. If he would have told him about not to destroy the Beis Hamikdash, we wouldn't be in Golus. Yisr na'oi mitoich ha'choshech. Golus, in order to get to the Geula Shleimo, we have to go through Golus. It had to be the Churban Beis Hamikdash. Azay the Rebbe gewollt. It had to go through such a way that Yochanan ben Zakkai should say it in such a way. His mind should be, so to speak, crooked. But this is how it had to be. So not the pshat, they forget. A tzaddik cannot make a mistake. His mistake is that because that had to be this way. Sometimes we see that the Rebbe says something, or whatever, we don't understand what is the Rebbe saying. That's not so. It is so. Because the truth of the matter is, since the Rebbe said so it had to be the Eibush that wanted it should come out this way. Was he Machzik Rishosi? This person had to divorce. And he had to why I don't know. But it had to be like that he had to be Machzik Rishosi to marry, to divorce, and then marry again. Why? We don't know. And maybe the Rebbe doesn't know either. There's a Maisa from the Rebbe Rashab. It's a famous Maisa. This will happen in Rebbe Rashab's time, that somebody asked the Rebbe, the Rebbe Rashab, if he should go to Israel with a plane or with a ship. And he said with a ship, and he went with a plane, or with the opposite, and something happened to him, and it was no good. So the son came over to the Rebbe Rashab and says, Rebbe, if you would have told me that something would happen to this person, that this would happen, I would never let my father go with a plane or a ship. So the Rebbe Rashab said, B'zeh haloshen, Glei mir, ich hab allein nicht gewusst, aber as mi zogt, darf man folgen. I didn't know myself. But when we say, just say, because even if you see and the Rebbe made a mistake, this mistake comes from the back, but the mistake had to happen like that. That's how it had to be. The Rebbe, before Yom Kippur War, I remember, the Rebbe gave out dimes, and then he said, Nisnabu v'layodama nisnabu. I didn't know myself. You don't know myself. So this is the libud that people answer, that a Rebbe cannot make a mistake. And the mistake that we see a mistake, we think it's a mistake. But the truth is that it had to come down through this way, because Shechina midaberes mitach greini shal Moshe. This is the answer of the Rebbe, whatever the Rebbe says. I remember once, and I'll finish off with this. My father, in the beginning years when he came to Cleveland, the Rebbe knew. The Rebbe told him to go to Cleveland. He knew he was in Cleveland. The Rebbe wrote to him many times. The Rebbe knew. So after Simchas Torah, the Rebbe used to give out, or Pesach used to give out bottles of wine to the people that live in Orei Hasodeh. They live in Shluchim, or they live in out of town. So the Rebbe is giving my father a bottle of wine, and the father says, I'm from Cleveland. This one says from Detroit. So the Rebbe says, Cleveland? The Rebbe says, Cleveland. Cleveland? It's like the Rebbe didn't know. He says, Cleveland? Cleveland? Yeah. And the Rebbe knew he's from Cleveland. The Rebbe knew very well. But Cleveland? The Rebbe gave him the end, by the way. It bothered my father very much. The Rebbe didn't know. It's Cleveland. So Rabbi Shmuel Levitnel Vasholem told my father, you're going to Yechidus next day, mention it to the Rebbe. Because it's impossible. The Rebbe should make a mistake. He shouldn't know that he's from Cleveland. So my father came into Yechidus, and this is the beginning, in the beginning years of my father just came to Cleveland, and my father is a chassid. My father was a big chassid of Rebbe's. And my father says to Rebbe that yesterday by Keisho Bracha, he mentioned about Cleveland. Right away, that's all he said. So the Rebbe said, So ken sein a chosid in a shtot. There can be a chosid in a city, and he's a chosid. But the shtot should not know that there's a chosid living in that city. So my father understood that the Rebbe wants him to do more what he did. Then he made Chol of Yisrael, and a lot of things that my father did in Cleveland. My father was mamish, he did a lot. Sheurim, Fabringen, a lot. But in the beginning, in other words, you can't say the Rebbe forgot that he lives in Cleveland. He talked that maybe at the time the Rebbe said Cleveland. What the Rebbe forgot or didn't forget doesn't matter. But that's the way it's supposed to be. This is called Shchinu Medaberes Mitach Greinish Al Moshe. In Mitzvah next week, we'll continue our weekly program. Thank you.